Hello guys, welcome back to another show here at Hello Music and Arts, and today is going to be a short video on how to draw straight lines without using any rulers. It's very easy. All you need to do is just master the movements of your fingers, your joints, from your fingers, your wrists to your elbows and your shoulders. If your movements are little, like short bursts or short lines, you can just hold here at the tip the ball pen or the pencil and just move your fingers to create short dashes. And then if it's a little bit longer, you can just move with your the wrist, and then locking the fingers, not moving the fingers. And then if the lines are even more longer or wider, you can lock your wrist and your fingers. You're not going to allow them to move, but your elbows are the one moving the line, so it's going to be the elbows. Because if you move your fingers and your wrist while doing this movement, it will not create a straight line because it's all swirly and everything. Now, for the last range, it's going to be the longest range, and what you need to do is you move your shoulders, you extend your shoulders, and then it's a combination with your elbows. So it's like this. Well, it's not really. I'm just trying to do this so that it fits on my camera. So it's gonna be like this movement. See? First the shoulder extension. Just look at my tip. It's not bouncing too much. So it's shoulder extension, and then your elbows move. Oops, sorry. Move while your shoulders are extending. It's like so it's like it's two movements, but it's one movement. Okay. So again, details here. Your short or fingers, and then wrists, and then your elbows and your shoulders with elbows. Now when you do the elbows, I forgot to mention that your wrist would also contribute little movements. Like you need to find the balance of your wrist. So when your elbows is moving at a very far away from your body, you need to adjust your wrist also by tilting your wrist like this in order to create a line that's straight. Because if you just allow the elbows to do this without the wrist, it's going to be difficult. So it takes practice. All right, so now I'm going to switch to my camera so that you can see how it's done in application wise. Okay guys, so it's really important that you have extra papers for your scratch or for your practices, okay? The purpose of this practice is for you to get used to the movements of your body. So now, with your paper and your ball pen, look at this is the ball pen. Make sure that the angle of your paper is matching the angle of your arms, your elbows. So it is very impossible or very difficult to draw if the paper is very centered like this in your hands, so at a 90-degree angle. So for me, I slant the paper like this because my movements, I can draw straighter lines with this kind of movements going diagonally. But we have different preferences and different body types, so you find your own comfortable position for your paper. If you can manage to draw a straight line with this way, be my guest. But for me, I have a hard time doing it because my hands are more angular, so I have a difficulty in drawing straight lines with this way. It has a tendency to go slant. So now remember my techniques. So the first one is details. When you are just drawing on detail, focusing on details, all you need to do is just use your fingers. Move your fingers like this. So if I want to draw something, let's say if this is the square, I want to put a lot of small brush strokes. See, I only use my fingers to move. Like that. Or if I'm connecting from point here to point B, I just use a flick of my finger, see?
Come on.
Because it's pointless if you draw really short lines and then you want to move your entire wrist. You can, but it depends on the situation. Of course, you can't. It's really weird if you draw using your move your elbows, and you just have a very short distance. The bigger it is, the less accurate you get. It's kind of difficult to see, even difficult if you move with your elbows with this distance. Okay, now here's one activity for you. For warm-up exercises, what I do is I draw a dot here and a random dot anywhere on the paper, and I'll try my best to connect the dots. So of course, you don't do it right away. You need to practice. Just gauge, like you have to get used to the feel of your palm brushing against the paper. And what I do, I also use the bone of my pinky here to use it as a guide. When I feel comfortable with the angle, I just set the weight on my pen. So it's floating like that, see? As you can see here, my lines are pretty close from the dot, but before I used to get that bullseye. So another experiment. Oh, too far. Okay, how about this one? Let's do a different angle. This one, how about that? Oh, close enough. Another. I'll try a longer one. You have to gauge where you're supposed to end. Oh, too short. Yeah, I'm very rusty with this kind of activity. I used to do this every day. Okay, now, all right. So if you get used to that, yeah, you get better. Okay, so you do that. The basics are very difficult. So if this is your activity and then you have to connect the line from here to here, if it's small, you can just use your fingers or your wrist, like so. But try as much as possible that it ends on the edge, okay? Now, I don't want you guys to do like this kind of line. This kind of line. That is what we are avoiding. We want confident lines. When I say confident lines, it's just one stroke, one kill. And now, if your lines are somewhat longer or wider, you can now use your elbow. See, I'm not using my fingers anymore to move. I'm also my wrists aren't so loose. It's just a little bit loose, and then I'm just using my elbows, just practicing the connection. Oh, it's too short. You have to practice your angle.
Come on.
Oh dear. Yeah, so it's like that. Now, the technique here is you're not supposed to draw very slow or very fast. Okay? If you draw too slow, it has a tendency your lines would wobble. And if you draw really fast, your accuracy would be very small. All right, now look at how I move my elbows and wrist to create a straighter line. Like that. So it doesn't mean that you literally have to lock your wrist when you use your elbows. It's like when you move your elbows, maybe at some point, I'm gonna flip the page. Maybe at some point in the middle, I am going to engage and use my wrist to tilt so that it would agree with my elbows. Like that. Because if I keep locking it, see, it gets weird here. There's something like an angle here. So like that. So see, I'm having trouble here. Let me put this thing away. Make sure your table is leveled. I have like there's like a bump here. If you do it too fast, you're doing it wrong. Just find your own pace. Now, if you are doing L with your shoulders, you move your shoulders, you push your shoulders, and then you use your elbow and your wrist. Your wrist is pointing there. I think this one here is pointing towards the direction. This bone over here. So if this bone is pointing here, it is going to go there. See? So make sure when you are pushing with your shoulders and elbows, make sure your wrist is also adjusting, pointing to that direction. See? So, of course, you're not going to get it for the first try, but you just keep practicing. I don't want you guys to do this because that would give you a messy artwork, especially if we do line works. Like if we were to draw a cube, it doesn't look nice when you draw with these kinds of lines. Like you are doubting your work like this. See, it's a messy square compared to just one straight line. Okay, even though this is not really, this is crooked, but it still looks cleaner. Again, I'll try. Oh, see? Again. Find different approaches on your cube. There you go. Oh yeah. But let's try a really weird looking shape for our cube. All right. Let me add the levels. All right, so that is the way how you do one way of practicing without rulers. So keep doing this until you get used to it and gain confidence in drawing with your lines. Okay, that's all. It's very easy. Right? I hope you guys enjoyed this short video. Okay, goodbye.